Face to face with Christ my Savior. Face to face, what will it be? When with rapture I behold Him, Jesus Christ who died for me. Face to face shall I behold Him, far beyond the starry sky. Face to face in all His glory, I shall see Him by and by. Only faintly now I see Him, with a darkening veil between. But a blessed day is coming, when His glory shall be seen. Face to face shall I behold Him, far beyond the starry sky. Face to face in all His glory, I shall see Him by and by. What rejoicing in His presence, when our banished grief and pain, when the crooked ways are straightened, and the dark things shall be plain. Face to face shall I behold Him, far beyond the starry sky. Face to face in all His glory, I shall see Him by and by. Face to face, oh blissful moment, face to face to see and know. Face face with my Redeemer, Jesus Christ, who loves me so. Face to face shall I behold him, far beyond the starry sky. Face to face in all his glory, I shall see him by and by.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well.
It is well
with my soul.
with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Teach me, Lord, through they that wait upon the Lord, they shall renew their strength. For they shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Teach me, Lord, they shall renew their strength.
Should you go first and I remain to walk the road alone, I'll live in memory's garden, dear, with the happy days we've known. In spring, I'll watch for roses red when fades the lilac blue. And in early fall, when brown leaves call, I'll catch a glimpse of you. Should you go first and I remain to finish with the scroll, no lengthening shadows shall creep in to make this life seem droll. We've known so much of happiness, and we've had our cup of joy, but memory is one gift of God that death cannot destroy. Should you go first and I remain for battles to be fought, each thing you've touched along the way will be a hallowed spot. I'll hear your voice, I'll see your smile, and though blindly I may grope, the memory of your helping hand will buoy me on with hope. Should you go first and I remain, one thing I'd have you do. Walk slowly down that long, long path, for soon I'll follow you. And I'll want to know each step you take, that I may walk the same. For someday down that lonely road, you'll hear me call your name.
Beyond the sunset, oh, grand reunion with our dear loved ones who've gone before. In that fair homeland, we'll know no parting. Beyond the sunset, forevermore. Beyond the
Sing that third and fourth verse again, just because they're so good. Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Thou mine inheritance. Yes, you are. I vision. Still be my vision, O ruler of all. And can it be that I should gain and make interest in the Savior's blood? Died before me, who caused his pain, for me who him to death pursued. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? He left his father's throne. He left his father's throne above, so free, so infinite his grace, emptied himself to show his love, and bled for Adam's helpless wreck. His mercy, all immense and free. For oh my God, if found out me, amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me? Long my imprisoned spirit lay, fast bound in sin and nature's night. Thine eye diffused the quickening ray. I woke the dungeon flame with light. My chains fell off, my heart was free. I rose and forth and followed thee. Amazing love, how can it be that thou, my God, shouldst die for me?
It's so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know thus saith the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, how I proved him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more. I'm so glad I learned to trust thee, precious Jesus, Savior, friend. precious Jesus. Oh, for grace to trust Him more.
8 stars of gold on a field of blue, Alaska's flag, may it mean to you the blue of the sea, the evening sky, the mountain lakes, and the flowers nearby. The gold of the early sourdough's dreams, the precious gold of the hills and streams, the brilliant stars in the northern sky, the Bear, the Dipper, and Shining High. The great North Star with its steady light, o'er land and sea a beacon bright. Alaska's flag to Alaskans dear, the simple flag of the last frontier. 8 stars of gold on a field of blue, Alaska's flag, may it mean to you the blue of the sea, the evening sky, the Bear, the Dipper, and Shining High. The great North Star with its steady light, o'er land and sea a beacon bright. Alaska's flag to Alaskans dear, the simple flag of the last frontier.
Sing the wondrous love of Jesus, sing His mercy and His grace. In the mansions bright and blessed, He'll prepare for us a place. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. While we walk the pilgrim pathway, clouds will overspread the sky. But when traveling days are over, not a shadow, not a sigh. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory.
Onward to the prize before us, soon His beauty we'll behold.
Soon the pearly gates will open, we shall tread the streets of gold. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. Shout the victory.
Last night I had a crazy dream. Wish was granted just for me. It could be for anything. I didn't ask for money or a mansion in Malibu. I simply wished for one more day with you. One more day, one more time, one more sunset, maybe I'd be satisfied. But then again, I know what it would do. Leave me wishing still for one more day with you. One more day. First thing I do is pray for time to crawl. I'd unplug the telephone, keep the TV off. I'd hold you every second, say a million I love yous. That's what I do with one more day with you. One more day, one more time, one more sunset, maybe I'd be satisfied. But then again, I know what it would do. Leave me wishing still for one more day with you. One more day, one more time, one more sunset, maybe I'd be satisfied. But then again, I know what it would do. Leave me wishing still for one more day. Leave me wishing still for one more day. Leave me wishing still for one more day with you. One more day, one more day.
Tell me your story, I'll tell you mine. Sing me your song, I'll follow line by line. Draw me near, let me hear the things you've treasured, patient as falling snow, standing inside the questions, only guessing by what truths our souls are measured, each of us rising from worlds unknown. Within your trials, I see my own. Still there are journeys that are yours alone. You were born for the storm you have to weather, true as a winter wind. You face the moment bravely. You and I, we're on our own and yet together, walking a path we can't define. story, I'll tell you mine. Sing me your song, I'll follow line by line. Let the night fall with the lightness of a feather, trusting the coming dawn. We cannot hold the morning. You and I, we're on our own, and yet together. For in the end, we're all flying home.
This is Merle, and I'm here, and I'm about to leave. And,
He's enjoying the prosperous country of Bangladesh.
Come on, say a few words about Bangladesh.
Bangladesh is right here, and I've been here for 2 weeks. And I'm leaving tomorrow morning, and I have the suitcases all packed, most of which is other people's stuff that I'm taking back. Contrary to my usual mode of travel, I'm carrying more than one suitcase because I'm sending you all junk from these people over here. Hopefully I won't have to carry it any farther than Bangkok because I want to mail it from there. Also part of the stuff that I'm bringing back are a couple of rugs that I bought over here.
That he put in his suitcase.
That I put in my suitcase. We had a party tonight. We had a prayer meeting at the house here, and then a bunch of people that were here stayed, and we had apple pie and pumpkin pie and coffee, and had a party, and everybody was here. And okay, back to you, Chet. Well, it's Merle again, and I'm back in Honolulu, and it's the 3rd of November, 1973, and I'm supposed to say something on this tape and see what I can do to finish it up and get it off to you folks so that you can hear it. I really don't know what all's been said on this tape so far. I just tried to find the end of it, and I heard a few things that were being said, and covered quite a bit of my trip in Bangladesh, but maybe I'll tell you a little bit about the details, both before and after, how I got there and how I got back. And And also with this tape, I'm sending a couple rolls of film, one of which Ron took and wanted me to have processed and sent home so that you can keep for him until he gets there. And another one, a bunch of pictures, which I don't have a use for, that I have either duplicates or a bunch of them are just kind of, are either hazy or not in focus or something. But anyway, just keep them with Ron's stuff, and if he wants to use them when he gets home, why, he's perfectly, he can go ahead and do it. I took about a little over 5 rolls of film myself of 36 exposure, and I've sorted through them this morning, and have put together a 100 slide tray that will go on my carousel Sawyer Rotomatic, and I'll probably be showing them on a couple of occasions, the Officers Christian Fellowship Bible Study, and also probably at church at Montauk Gardens Missionary Church, and some other people want to see my slides, so those are the ones I'll show. It was kind of hard to cut out some of them, and but people get bored looking at slides, so I just picked out 100 of them that were good and showed what I wanted to, so I'll be showing those. My trip started way back before I left here. As a matter of fact, on Friday afternoon, well, let's see, about the 7th or 8th, 7th, I guess, was a Saturday, 7th of October, I went over to Kauai, and a bunch of the rest of the kids in an ensemble that I sang with from the Montauk Gardens Missionary Church called The New Dawn was having a concert on Saturday night at the high school in Lahui, Kauai, and then 3 concerts on Sunday in 3 of each of the 3 missionary churches on Kauai. Most of the kids went over Friday night, but I went over about noon on Saturday and joined them, mainly because this was a big weekend for the Officers Christian Fellowship here. The Executive Secretary, Mr. Paul Pettijohn, was on the island for the week, and he was in our Bible study on Tuesday night, and then we were having a Saturday morning seminar, and then a Saturday evening big dinner and speaking engagement, and then Sunday they were having a picnic. Well, I sat in for about an hour and a half of the Saturday morning seminar, and then I caught a plane over to Kauai and spent the rest of the weekend there. And our concert, there weren't very many at our concert on Saturday night, probably about 60 or 70 people. And then the concerts on Sunday morning were good, and then the Sunday evening concert at the church was packed. And it went over very well. We had only given it once before, and that was at our church the week before that on Sunday evening. And now since that weekend, I guess the group has sang twice, just a few numbers each time, while I was gone. And then this Sunday at noon, I guess, we're having a concert over at the Windward Missionary Church. And then we're singing, and then our church is having a week of special meetings, and I think we're singing one of the evenings then. And in another couple weeks, we're singing at Youth for Christ, Honolulu Youth for Christ. And then later on, we have another concert at the Nanakuli Missionary Church. So we have a number of concerts coming up. Anyway, so we all came. That was a holiday weekend, and we all came back on Monday. And I went over and signed out on leave at midnight. Actually, Tuesday morning, went over and signed up standby for a flight to Bangkok. And at 5:30 that afternoon, I was on a Pan Am military contract flight straight to Bangkok with stops at Guam and at Clark in the Philippines. And so at 5:30 that afternoon, I took off, and I was pretty lucky to get on the flight, and that kind of a flight and everything. It's much more comfortable to ride on those military contract flights than it is on a 141 or a C-5. And I took off out of here, and I got into Bangkok about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, their time, Bangkok time, which is about 7 hours difference from here. So I was actually on the airplane about 16 and a half hours. That is including those 2 stops, and I got in over there actually the next day, but you cross the international date line, so you lose a day going over. So it was there Thursday morning, and I found where they were, and I got a couple hours rest, and we fooled around and had dinner that evening. And then the next morning, Friday morning, the 12th, we flew Thai International to Dhaka, and then had to wait around for 3 or 4 hours to catch the Bangladesh Biman, little airline, the only airlines in Bangladesh from Dhaka down to Chittagong. And I guess probably the folks have told you most of the rest of the story and what we did, and all around. And then after the end of this tape, I packed it in my suitcase, and Ron and I flew Friday morning, the 26th, from Chittagong up to Dhaka, and we caught the 10:55 flight, I think, up there, which meant we had all afternoon to fool around, because my flight, Thai International, didn't leave until 5:45. So we went downtown and met a friend of his, and went over to the guest house and caught an hour's nap or so. Went out and ate in a Chinese restaurant, and then went back to the airport, and I caught my flight, and didn't seem to have any trouble at all getting through customs or anything else. And it was about a 2-hour flight from Dhaka back to Bangkok, and got there about 9 o'clock in the evening, Friday evening, and I got a taxi and went around to the other side of the airport and signed up for a flight back here with a military ATCO. But I checked the board, and they didn't have very many flights coming, and the next one was going to be about 3 or 4 more days, and I didn't want to wait that long. And I had considered going back through Taiwan too, but it looked like that was going to be a big hassle, and I was going to have trouble finding transportation out of Taiwan. Probably would have had to go down to Clark or up to Okinawa, and then back through Guam and back over here. And I was getting kind of sick of traveling and fooling around, and so I just decided to cancel that anyway. So I came back here. So I went to. So after I checked in at the military desk, then I took the taxi downtown to the Chowpia, which is the military government contract hotel, and checked in for the night there. And then I looked up my friend, Lieutenant Colonel Wendy Gregg, who was over there for about a month. What he actually is trying to do is trying to eliminate some of the positions in Thailand, trying to cut down some of our forces over there, but he wasn't doing too well at the time. And anyway, he's a member of our Officers Christian Fellowship over here. And so we spent a couple hours in the evening, and then we got up in the morning, had breakfast together. He had a conference, and then we had lunch together. And then that afternoon, I bought a few things at a jewelry store, and just that's about all. And I called down to Utapao, which is our big SAC base, which is about 80 miles south of Bangkok, at Sadahip. The town is called Sadahip. And found out they had a KC-135 going out that evening, and they didn't act like there'd be any problem getting on it. So that afternoon I caught a bus 4 o'clock in the afternoon from the Chowpia Hotel in Bangkok down to Utapao, which took about 3.5 to 4 hours to get down there. And I checked in at the MAC terminal, and they said, no problem, we'll put you right on it straight to Guam. And I knew if I got to Guam, I could get out of there fairly easy, so that was no problem. So there were only 10 of us on the whole airplane. The KC-135 was supposed to take off at 10 o'clock in the evening. And we got out there and we rolled down the runway, and about 115 knots, the 2 outboard engines quit pumping the water. They have water injection engines to give them more power on the takeoff. And the 2 outboards quit pumping, so they aborted and came back and had run them up statically, and it seemed to work. But they get it out on the runway and get it running about 150 knots, or about 100 knots, and she quit pumping. And we did it twice, and finally they brought it back and decided to download all the fuel in the belly tanks, and then they were legal to take off without the water injection. So it was about 1 o'clock in the morning before we got off the ground, Thailand time, and it was about a 7.5 hour flight into Guam. And I got into Guam and went through customs. And the guy went through my bags, and I just took the bags off the counter and walked 50 feet across the floor and checked into the outgoing counter. And they had a 141 going with space on it in about an hour and a half. So I was only on the ground at Guam about an hour and a half or so. And I got on the 141, only this time it was pretty crowded, and it was a little over 8 hour flight into Honolulu. And rather unpleasant, but the price was right. If you're not paying for it, why, a seat is a seat. So I got all the way over there and all the way back. In fact, the whole trip, as far as transportation is concerned, the whole trip only cost me about $200 all the way from here. It was $178, I think, for the round trip on the Thai International from Bangkok to Dhaka and back, and then about $7 each way on the Bangladesh Biman. So that was, a pretty reasonable trip as far as cost is concerned. Of course, I, spent some more money while I was in Bangladesh and that kind of stuff. So anyway, I got back here about midnight Saturday morning, about the 28th, I think. Whatever that Saturday is, anyway. I'm sorry, Sunday morning, midnight Sunday morning. And with all the fooling around on the airplane, I didn't get home until about 3 o'clock in the morning. It took me over 2 hours just to get my bags and get through customs. It seems as though, the ag inspector got on the airplane. We had all been cramped up and crowded in for over 8 hours. The ag inspector come on, he inspected that airplane like he was looking for a needle in a haystack for about 25 minutes, and then he found the apples. They had picked up some apples someplace else for the flight lunches for all the people. And the guy was all bent out of shape because you're not supposed to bring apples into Honolulu. And he confiscated all those and got all... Finally, they let us off the airplane, and then they shut the airplane all up and sprayed it for insects. Then they had to leave it shut for half an hour, so this delayed us that much more before they could take our bags off. And then when they brought the bags in, then we had to fool around going through customs, and it was over 2 hours from the time we landed until I got my bags and was ready to leave the terminal. And then I had to run around and find my car on the base. The sergeant who was working on it hadn't left it where I thought he had. Ended up taking a taxi over to find the thing at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I went over to check my mail before coming home, and the air police stopped me on the road. The guy asked me if I was going to work, and I says, no, I'm just trying to go home. I've been up for about 48 hours on airplanes, and I'm dead tired. And he says, the reason I stopped because you were wandering all over the road. He says, well, you would too if you were in this condition. He probably thought he stopped me because he thought I was drunk. And I probably acted like it anyway. But anyway, I finally got home. But the trouble is, I started feeling somewhat ill on the last airplane on the way home. And I got home here, and I drank some tomato juice and ate a few potato chips, I guess, and I went to bed. And less than an hour later, I was up sitting on the latrine, or the bathroom for you who've never been in the military. And the rest of that morning, I did the same thing. I spent most of the time in the bathroom. And a lot of people over there call it the deli belly, or you can call it the Thailand two-step, or you can call it diarrhea, or whatever you want to, but I've had a pretty bad case of it. This ends the tape, so goodbye.